welcome back to another university segment where we look at what's happening in blockchain education all around the world. Today, I have Zachary and Noah joining me from Indiana University. You guys want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. I'm Noah Goldberg. I'm a senior at IU, and I'm the president of Blockchain IU, which is our blockchain club on IU campus.
Hello, everybody. I'm Zachary Tillman. I'm technically an alumni of Indiana University as of today. I'm the outgoing engineering director for Blockchain at IU, and I'm currently the CTO of Lease It Block, which is a rent management system built on Kaleido. So been working on a lot of projects and stuff. It's been an interesting few weeks for a graduate.
Right on. So what, you just graduated today, you said?
Yeah, I mean, technically I've been done with class since yesterday, but I mean, like, I'm technically graduating the next couple days, so it's not really fair for me to say I'm a senior in the same position as Noah is.
Got it. Well, congratulations. One thing that I have found as I go further down the crypto blockchain rabbit hole is that there's a lot of different people attracted to this space. And I think that's in large part because there's a lot of different interesting aspects of what's going on here. For example, you have a lot of cutting edge technology coming out of this movement. And so you have a lot of people that just like to kind of geek out on the technical aspects of it. A lot of developers and coders and people with just a general technical profile. And then you also find that there's kind of like a libertarian or sort of anarcho-capitalist tinge to it, where, people just kind of want to rethink the whole notion of a free market and whatnot. And then you have just, your flat out moon boys and girls who are trying to, really capitalize on an extremely volatile market. And I get that all those things are sort of tightly woven together. But my point here is that there's a lot to take interest in. And I'm curious, what interests you? What's y'all's background? How did you get involved in cryptocurrencies and get wrapped up in the blockchain space?
Zach, do you want to start or should I?
Yeah, sure. I can open this. So I've been software engineer, or like just programming in general, since like middle school. So I've been fairly experienced in like just building technology regardless of like the industry. And so in around 2014, while I was in high school, a friend of mine had bought some Bitcoin, and that's when I first kind of started learning more about the space. In around 2017, I took a little bit more seriously when I learned like Solidity and a lot more about like Ethereum and just general like decentralized computing theories that were coming out of the crypto space. So yeah, around 2017, I kind of shifted my my focus as a developer kind of solely on crypto and those related projects.
And then for me, I guess I come more from like a business side. In around like 2015, I want to say, there was some demand in my high school for Bitcoin. I don't really know what their exact reasons were, but there wasn't a great way to access it. I don't know how relevant Coinbase was at the time, so I acted almost as like a means of exchange. I was going to Bitcoin ATMs about half hour away from my house, buying Bitcoin and then selling it to my friends. And now I'm more of a trader. I margin trade Bitcoin and then some of like the large cap cryptocurrencies.
So Bitcoin ATMs were your first on-ramps as opposed to, something like Coinbase or just fiat to crypto virtual exchange like what most people use today?
Yeah, no, Bitcoin's ATMs were my first, I guess, way that I bought Bitcoin.
and then you would just sell it to your friends through like cash a transaction. You just make them a paper wallet, or you'd show them how to download a wallet and you just do the transaction that way.
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty easy because like for Bitcoin, there wasn't really another mean to get it too easily, and the exchange rates on Coinbase at the time were close to like 8%. So you could charge like 5%, and it would seem pretty reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I think it's safe to say that a lot of this is still kind of niche. It's by no means widespread. Granny hasn't really caught on to it, though. I think in the last decade plus, more and more grannies, if you will, have at least heard of Bitcoin and whatnot. How do things look like in your region? Like what's going on in Indiana? And I guess more specifically, what does it look like on your campus? Are students interested in this stuff? Are people using cryptocurrencies? Are they trading?
So
what's the deal?
in terms of our university and programs involved in blockchain, there's none that I know of at the moment. I think they're planning on putting out some type of graduate course eventually in the next few years, but what I see around us is that there's definitely an interest in cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and I guess one of the ways that we see that is there's Bitcoin ATMs on campus. Not too many, but there are a few. And then primarily the main thing in our campus that's driving blockchain is our club. I think our club is like the main place where anybody involved in blockchain is really getting together. But I got into involved in our club like my freshman year, so 2017-ish, and there was a huge demand for our club just because that was like when the Bitcoin bull run was there. So there was like a ton of people showing up at all these meetings. And slowly as Bitcoin stopped appreciating in value, a lot of the people that were originally going to these club meetings for like short-term capital gains started dissipating, and some of like the people that were more involved in the blockchain side of things were the ones that were remaining. So we eventually made a pivot from focusing more on cryptocurrencies to focusing more on blockchain and distributed ledger technology over the past few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can speak a lot to like just like the developer culture at Indiana University. We're not necessarily known as an engineering school. I'm a business student, so I actually don't study computer science through the university. In fact, like although I've always been like a programmer, I've always kind of approached crypto from a finance perspective. It's kind of hard to ignore both sides of that coin or either side of that coin. We kind of go through phases. Obviously, the value of these assets has a lot to do with the involvement from our like business students and our finance people who are interested in like trading or making money off of speculation. One of the developer culture of LinkedIn is a little bit more sporadic. It's kind of based off topics. So one of the ways that we try to like get people going is like having specific lectures on technical topics where people who aren't in blockchain space can kind of understand what we're talking about, and then just kind of building from there. So we kind of have pull from all these different directions on our campus, and we've done a decent job of centralizing the crypto related stuff at our school over the past couple of years.
Do you get any bite from the professors? Like, do they come to your talks? Do they attend these lectures? Are they kind of interested in it?
Yeah, so in order to be a club, you have to have at least one sponsor as a professor. So we definitely were able to do that. And then we don't see much a draw from like business side, but we have an informatics school, and some of the professors in the past have like sent students towards some of the programs that we had. Like I'm trying to think, who was the professor last year? The Asian lady.
Oh, we had there are a couple professors in that thread. I forget her exact name, but yeah, we've had like a few ardent supporters over the past couple of years that have like either helped us with like getting resources from the university or like human capital, like getting people into our lectures and trying to like prioritize our knowledge specifically. It's been we've had some engagement from faculty. It hasn't been all just us.
I was talking to a professor the other day, and he actually bought his first Bitcoin off of one of his students back a couple years ago. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great way for your professors to get engaged with the student interest right there. How about any projects that you guys are working on? Is there anything, I mean, what's the club been up to? Have y'all been running any hackathons or like anything that y'all are personally doing right now by way of development or?
Yeah, so this year, our main initiative that we've focused on is developing courses. I guess they're not sponsored by Indiana University, nor do they give like official credits, but students can come once a week to a course that few board members of blockchain at IU facilitate. And we have two courses. One of them is focused on blockchain and business applications, and then one's focused more on development. And then at the end of our business course, after the 8 weeks, we had a case competition where different group of students in the course were able to pitch an app or like a business application for blockchain, and then we voted on the best one, and then they won some hard wallets.
Yeah, I was going to say, typically most of my work with the club is around the development course. Obviously this semester we had some problems due to COVID. So my actual course kind of got like removed for this last semester, which was kind of sad. But in the meantime, yeah, I kind of, I've been like participating in hackathons online myself and trying to teach other people in the club various like ways to learn more about development. Because yeah, I'd like to reiterate, Indiana University didn't have an engineering school until last year. So if you're like writing code at IU, like it can be difficult to find a community. And I feel like over the past 2 years, we've put a lot of effort, or at least me and a couple other board members have put in a lot of effort to reach out to people who are interested in development or interested in learning more, regardless of what their major was or what school they were in. So yeah, it's been an interesting few years.
And did you say that this was a course that you had actually gotten on the curriculum at the departmental level, or like this was just you were just hosting this in your club?
Yeah, no, we were just hosting it. It was mainly just for people that wanted to gain some more knowledge on the subject.
I got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then like we also had it as kind of a pathway towards more responsibility in the club. So like people,
Right.
you know, people who take our courses and excel in it can eventually backfill some of the board positions that we kind of lose over the years.
Sure. Is there any sort of incentive program that you have integrated to try to attract more students other than, you know, whatever the appeal might be of having something like, you know, being a board member on your CV or something like that?
We've been trying, or what we're working on right now is getting some type of certification, whether that be through like Mousebelt or IU, that people can put on their resumes. But the main way that we've been trying to incentivize people is through board positions. Right now, we don't have like much in terms of financial incentives, so it mostly comes down to prestige.
Sure.
Yeah. Individual donors will sometimes help us out for like prizes for competitions and stuff like that. I know for our case competition this year, we incentivized people with like various prizes we had accumulated from different sponsors. So we try to keep it as engaging as possible, but like the main draw is obviously just the knowledge and networking with different people in the industry.
Got it. And you know, that's not a bad thing. Knowledge is inherently valuable, I would argue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we're starting to run out of time here. So I want to leave you with this last question here. It's been a really interesting year so far. If you haven't noticed, we're only, you know, not even 6 months into 2020, and, you know, people have been losing their jobs. We have, you know, the feds are printing trillions and trillions of dollars as if to just intentionally wreck USD. People are getting sick. Everyone's been isolated at home. Zoom has taken off. How do you see the future? how do things unfold from here? And what does, cryptocurrency, the integration of cryptocurrencies in our financial infrastructure, or what does blockchain have to do with that future as you envisage it?
Um, you can go. Sorry.
Okay, sure. So generally how I see it is that it's definitely been noted that there's a record amount of fiscal stimulus being put out by the US, but also countries around the world. And because of that, there's been raising concerns for having some type of sovereign currency. Like recently in China, one of the main gold traders in China wanted to create some type of gold currency. And so I think the role of digital currencies, or at least currencies that are less tied to government spending or some type of trust system in a government, make more sense going forward in the future. And I think the way that that gets established primarily is, in the long run, these fiscal stimuluses that have been putting out, or that have been put out, will cause higher rates of inflation. Most likely not for the next couple of years, because it's hard for that money to get into the money supply. I don't really want to get into that, but when that inflation comes, I definitely see a push towards things that can hold their value. So like gold and silver commodities, and then also Bitcoin.
Yeah, I would kind of come at it from a different angle. Most of my work right now in development is kind of working in this cross section of like blockchain, cryptocurrency, and like the decentralized computing stuff, and then also property tech and like government technology. So obviously COVID has made it extremely apparent that face-to-face interactions with the government are probably going to be extremely difficult to I mean, obviously it's difficult to scale, but like now it's becoming impossible. So a lot of the typical features of local and like state and federal level governments have to be digitized properly. The project that I'm currently working on, called Lease on the Block, tries to work with the New York Housing Commission to attempt to decentralize a lot of the legal and financial tools used to identify people who qualify for rent-controlled housing, and then notify them of like specific problems with their lease or of payments. So right now I'm working with a lot of companies that digitize government documents, and trying to work on those types of, trying to work on systems to get those digitized documents onto the blockchain, and try to levy or release some pressure on our government institutions right now. I think that's a super important problem, is just, trying to get as much government related stuff online, and using blockchain to like, securely, to create secure identities and instill more automated trust within these systems. One of the ways I like to talk about it is, or analogy like I like to say, is that we kind of, projects like Lease on the Block or any other like blockchain related governance tool makes like compliance the default. Right now, if let's say you have a problem with your lease, or a problem with your landlord, you have to sue. Compliance is not the default. With software, we can make it so breaking the law is actually like impossible, which is kind of cool. And that's something I'm super excited to pursue in the next couple of years. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just talking yesterday with some of the guys that are going to be putting together a legal panel, and some presentations on the legal aspects of smart contracts. And one of the issues that was brought up is the gap between the sort of syntax and just like the general language that a contract is written in, and like the sort of human judge, or the one who is actually trying to interpret that syntax in the language there. But in the case of a smart contract, it's a little bit harder to perceive ambiguities, because once you sort of sign the agreement, it's more or less made on the basis of a mutual understanding of sort of what conditions need to be met, and when those conditions are met, what's going to be deployed, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's no going back after the fact and claiming to have a different interpretation of what actually the agreement was. So Whether or not that turns out to be a good thing in all cases, time will tell, but it's at least how things could go from here on out. Well, Zachary, Noah, thank you again so much for taking some time out of your day to hop on this chat. I hope that you have a great rest of 2020. And Zachary, congratulations again on just finishing up school. Noah, I don't know how much longer you got, but, you know, I wish the best of luck to you and your future endeavors, guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're tuned in to Reimagine 2020. Stay tuned to learn more about the state of the art in blockchain education and technological development all around the world. Reimagine 2020.